Good morning. My name is Sue Penny. I am a member of this beautiful Unitarian Universalist congregation of the South Fork, and I'd like to welcome everyone here this morning. As Unitarian Universalists, we affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every being. We honor our interdependence with all life on this planet and the earth itself. We remember the Native Americans pushed off this land by European farmers, and we remember the people captured in Africa, brought in chains to work this land, and then released to a freedom haunted with terror and injustice. We are committed to healing the pain of our past and our present. In our actions outside of these walls, we help those in need. Here, in our worship together, the rituals we practice and the songs we sing elevate our commitments to heal the pain of our past and present and bind us emotionally as a community. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your name for the sacred, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome to bring your full self here. We are very happy to have this morning Scott and Megan Chaskey. They are no strangers to this congregation. They've offered many services. Scott is a poet, a farmer, and educator. For 30 years, he ran the Quail Hill farm in Amagansett. He is the past president of the Northeast Organic Farming Association. These are the parts of their bio that didn't make it in the newsletter, so it's a long list of things they've both done. He served on many local important boards and written several books, including Seed Time, Star and Sons, and now Soil and Spirit, which you'll be hearing from later. His books are on sale at Canios, and he would like to promote them too, right? They're great. Megan was our former music director, as many of you remember. For years, she ran our music program. She will provide the music and more this morning. She has created 4 albums for meditation, relaxation, and healing. She is a practitioner of harmonium healing, Nam yoga therapies, and holistic life coach. Her books include Birdsong Under the Wisdom Tree, collected poems, and a book of hours in the life of a poet. Together they have even found time to raise kids and grandkids. So thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure. I want to thank Reverend Kimberly back there for being our tech person, and Monica Sazada on camera. There is a live transcript, and if you need hearing devices, Carl can help you maneuver that. The theme for this month is beauty. You will see it woven throughout our service. And we hope you'll join us next week when the Reverend Kimberly will be leading us in our water communion that will also carry on the theme of beauty. There are many announcements for just this week of events. Thursday is the September meeting for the Death Cafe. That's from 5 to 6:30. Also, Saturday, this is something I'm very excited about. We are having a fall equinox sunset gathering at Long Beach. Pam can tell you where exactly we're going to meet. It's bring your own chair and bring your own drinks, and we will have pizza. And there is also on Saturday a witness walk for breast cancer awareness. It's a 5K that begins at 8 a.m. at the Child Care Center. If you want to be on our UU team, you can speak to Reverend Kimberly. And finally, if you know anybody who's a 7th to 9th grader, You do want them to know about our sex education program called OWL. OWL stands for Our Whole Lives. It's a wonderful UU program. You don't have to be a UU. You do need to attend here, right, Kimberly? Oh, you do not need to attend here. Okay. So talk to Reverend Kimberly if you have questions about it. But it is a super program. You can find more information about how to connect to events this week in the e-bulletin, so make sure you're signed up. If you don't get our e-newsletter, we want you to get it. And I wonder if there are any visitors this morning who would like to introduce yourselves, either someone on Zoom or in this room. Okay. So we are just going to take a brief minute to greet someone that you haven't greeted yet this morning. The words for the chalice lighting while Pam lights our chalice are by Kimberly Carlson. Recognizing the beauty around us and within us, in voice and spirit, we gather to light our chalice. May we savor the beauty of our abundance and diversity, always cherishing one another and our earth. May we remember to inhale the lushness of life, knowing that we are people of beauty. And Scott will be reading our opening words.
Morning Song by Joy Harjo. The red dawn now is rearranging the earth, thought by thought, beauty by beauty. Each sunrise a link in the ladder the backbone of shimmering deity. Child stirring in the web of your mother, do not be afraid. Old man turning to walk through the door, do not be afraid. Thought by thought, beauty by beauty.
So please stand as you are willing and able for number 21, our hymn For the Beauty of the Earth, and Megan will lead us in flute.
We'll play it once through first, and then please join in. in preparing for this wonderful subject, I am connecting us with the Navajo understanding of a way of living called Way of Beauty. And what is, I'd like to again acknowledge that we are here now on the ancestral lands of the Shinnecock and Montaukett, and grateful for their ancestors' presence and grateful for their continuing presence, and sending all of our love and prayers for peace for them. So in the Navajo tradition, there's a word, hojo. In the Navajo is also, in their language, is the dine. And it has been said that hojo may be the most important word in the Navajo language. It's translated as balance and beauty, and it carries an important emphasis on the states of harmony. Hojo also emphasizes the many connections between that link the ephemeral and the changing parts of the world into a larger, more persistent and significant whole. So later when we sing Circle Round for beauty, we're also singing Circle Round for wholeness. So bring that back in mind when we do that. Beauty is central to Navajo life and thought. While Western societies often emphasize beauty as a surface phenomenon evident in a person's or object's physical appearance, Navajo thinking about beauty extends beyond what can be perceived directly by the senses, even though it's also how we participate with beauty is through our senses. It encompasses basic ideas about health and goodness. This is expressed in orderly and harmonious relationship with other people, with other parts of the natural world, and with the world of spiritual beings and forces. Physical beauty is an outward sign of a deeper and more all-encompassing beauty. This beauty is a product of striving for harmony in how one lives one's life. So it's really a way of life. That's why it's called the Way of Beauty. And I associate that also with the Way of Tao. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but in Taoism they talk about the way. The understanding of beauty can be heard, for instance, in the ritual poetry of the Blessing Way ceremony. And when we do the meditation, we're going to do a walk, and I'll be reading the closing prayer from the Blessing Way ceremony, which is Navajo. And it's basically walking in beauty. So it's an active way of being with beauty. And so this involves how a person lives their life in a harmonious way as an active, ongoing force for good. And I just feel that really resonates with what we're doing here at the Unitarian Universalist. So while Hojo is a central concept in Navajo life, one that unifies the modern Navajo community as a continuance from their tradition through the centuries, each individual must determine how to realize it personally. In weaving, examples of such personal choices arise each time they shear a sheep, gather a plant used as a dye, design and weave a rug, engage with non-Navajo buyers, or help support their families. So I have here on the piano a Navajo rug. I was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and so I grew up surrounded by all the presence of the native peoples there. And my father, before I was born, spent a year working on the Navajo reservation. So I've had that feeling of reverence for the Navajo. And I want to tell one little quick story, is that he was working with a filmmaker, and the filmmaker decided to give the Navajo people the camera so that they could film their lives from their point of view. And when they got the footage back, it was many hours of riding in a truck or walking places, because that was what their life was made up of, and their sense of what their lives were was what they did as they went through their lives. It wasn't like these, what we think of as films, as little clips, the interesting bits. So I thought that was I've carried that with my whole life. So I want to read a piece by Wendell Berry. We walked always in beauty, it seemed to me. We walked and looked about, or stood and looked. Sometimes less often we would sit down. We did not often speak. The place spoke for us and was a kind of speech. We spoke to each other in the things we saw. Now, the other, there's so many correspondences with the Navajo way of beauty, because we're going to be doing a prayer where we call on beauty before us, beauty behind us. And I just wanted to show you this image. It's from the Kabbalistic Tree of Life. And let's see if you can see it. Turn it for our, can you see it over here? Okay. So on the sphere, on the Tree of Life, there are 10 spheres. And they represent our existence on the earth and our connection with spirit. So this is foundation, yesod, and then this is the way that we travel to move through back to being connected with spirit. This is also how spirit gives us energy and inspiration coming down to our existence here. But both ways pass through this center circle, which is represented by the Hebrew word tiferet, which is the heart, and it's literally beauty. So the connection with the Tree of Life and the Kabbalistic understanding is connected with beauty. So now we're going to, I'm going to invite you to sing with me once you get a sense of it. And the words are Hojo Nahadsli. And yes.
Yes, okay. Because we're going to do this while we're having our morning offering.
Yes.
So I just want to let you know that there are many ways we support this congregation. And some is through the efforts people make, like our hospitality person. Now, I think Ken Ettlinger is the one who jumped in and filled that spot this morning. And I'm not actually sure who jumped in the greeter spot, but this is how we roll, I think. If somebody's not assigned, people jump in. And we also had the Holsteins pick up food from the closing provisions in Watermill and brought it here for our food pantry. Pamela Grenke let them know this was happening, and so we are nicely stocked. The other way you can contribute is financially, and we will be passing baskets around to support the work inside these walls, and there is a helping hand bowl in the back for those who would like to donate to help those outside, including the minister's discretionary fund. And now I will turn it back over to me again.
Hojo, 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 Nahadsli. So the words are Hojo, Nahadsli. And you can hum or whatever you want, but you're welcome to join in. Hojo, 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 Nahadsli. Hojo, 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 Nahadsli. Hojo, Nahadsli. Hojo, Nahadsli. Hojo, Nahadsli. Hojo, Nahadsli. Hojo, Hojo, Hojo. Ojo Nahatzli, Ojo Nahatzli. Beautiful, thank you.
We continue our commitment to families and children by offering a space within this room for them with Kim. And with no kids there, we encourage Kim to join us for this service. As we build community, we share the deep joys, sorrows, and concerns of our lives as we feel so moved. Thank you, Kim. So if you have a joy, sorrow, hope you'd like to share with us, please come forward, speak into the mic so that those on Zoom can hear. And those on Zoom can let Reverend Kimberly know if they would like to share. And please say your name. And Pam will light our candles.
Start with my hope. Thank you for mentioning hope. This is a hope for Tuna, who is home and in transition between his needs and
Meditation that will be followed by a minute of silence, and then we will be singing together as we're in this circle. So I will be leading the walk. We won't walk as slowly as we do with the Zendos, but we just form a line around and we'll be walking in a circle. I hope that makes sense.
Just follow Sue. I'm going to stay here. So just follow Sue. And as you're walking, I'm going to read the words of the Navajo Blessing Way ceremony. So it'll form a circle as you walk, so. And so just meditate on these words as you're walking. In beauty I walk, with beauty before me I walk. With beauty behind me, I walk. With beauty above me, I walk. With beauty around me, I walk. It has become beauty again. Today, I will walk out. Today, everything negative will leave me. I will be as I was before. I will have a cool breeze over my body. I will have a light body. I will be happy forever. Nothing will hinder me. I walk with beauty before me. I walk with beauty behind me. I walk with beauty below me. I walk with beauty above me. I walk with beauty around me. My words will be beautiful. In beauty all day long may I walk. Through the returning seasons may I walk. On the trail marked with pollen, may I walk. With dew about my feet, may I walk. With beauty before me, may I walk. With beauty behind me, may I walk. With beauty below me, may I walk. With beauty above me, may I walk. With beauty all around me, may I walk. In old age, wandering on a trail of beauty, lively may I walk. In old age, wandering on a trail of beauty, living again may I walk. My words will be beautiful. And then at this point, you can just stop where you are and face each other, and we're going to do a call and response. Beauty before me. So you repeat. Beauty behind me. Beauty above me. Beauty below me. Beauty in me. May we walk in beauty with happiness, joy, confidence, and peace. Hojo, Nahatsli. Hojo, Nahatsli. Hojo, Nahatsli. Hojo, Nahatsli. Now we're going to, I'm going to just sing for you, Circle Round for Freedom.
So I will be reading from my new book called Soil and Spirit, with the subtitle Cultivation and Kinship in the Web of Life. I'm reading from a chapter, the title of which is Juana's Orange and Alina's Red, and you'll be transported to New Mexico, I hope. There's two epigraphs to this chapter. The first is from Oren Lyons, who is the faith keeper of the Onondaga Nation. We call this essence the spirit of life. This is what gives the world the energy to create, procreate, and becomes the ponderous and powerful law of regeneration, the law of the seed. The second is from a wonderful writer, John Hay, from a piece he wrote called The Long View of Rachel Carson. We assume that human beings are superior to all other species and that we have been assured a place at the top of the hierarchy. But it is the small things holding the world together. One of the Earth's ways of seeing surfaces as color on this plateau in New Mexico. Luminous, earthy shades of red and gold adorn both people and plants here near the pueblo of Santa Clara. Kapu, it is called, constructed in the 14th century by traveling bands of Anasazi, where the wild roses grow near the water. In this kind of country, in the words of author and journalist Tony Hillerman, the mountains affect the climate of the valleys and the climate of the soul. And here in Espanola, the sky is dominant. Air at this height has lost a quarter of its weight. It is low in oxygen and carbon dioxide, high in hydrogen. The light is not easily diffused. It is early evening, late September, still warm in Espanola, and my wife Megan and I have arrived at a small public park at 7,000 feet, a place bathed in crisp light. We are here at the invitation of Tiwa Women United, an organization of indigenous women from the northern New Mexico pueblos, united, mind, heart, and in the spirit of love for all. For over 30 years. Tiwa is a Kiowa Tanoan language group spoken by Pueblo people, mostly living in the valleys of the northern Rio Grande. In the words of TWU, which is Tiwa Women United, as Pueblo Tiwa women, our source of strength has always been our connection to land, spirituality, and culture. Their mission and their work is embodied in the Tiwa concept of Wawatsi, to walk the middle path of balance and serenity. We join the others, a diverse group of people aged 5 to 75, and we climb stone steps laid into a terraced hillside from the playing fields below toward the garden planted above. Several years ago, an eroded gravel slope was transformed and renamed the Espanola Healing Foods Oasis, and now the garden is maintained using traditional dryland farming techniques. There is calm in the short walk we take together, mostly in silence, each focused on the purpose of the evening, to harvest the seeds of amaranth plants. Several visitors from Guatemala lead us to the garden, and they imbue the harvest with a festive spirit. The bright colors of their dress match the brilliance of the tall grain in the garden. Ripe brushes of crimson, carmine, primrose, honey, and ochre against the blue dome that envelops Espanola. These villagers from Guatemala arrived here for a short stay in May to plant the seeds with the Tiwa women community, and harvest time has come. Now they have returned to instruct and to share a ritual activity practiced by the indigenous peoples of Mesoamerica for centuries. When we reach the higher ground of the garden, we surround the ripened plants, or rather, they surround us. Some specimens over 6 feet in height, stalks leaning and falling into one another, held upright in the reddish soil of Espanola by mutual consent. Juana's orange, Amaranthus cruentus, named after a seed saved by Juana, and Alina's red, saved by Marcella, a Maya Cachical elder, the seed hidden in her home during the long civil war that tore Guatemala apart from 1960 to 1996, 36 years. Though the seed of this attractive, valuable plant is tiny, the size of the eye of a needle, each plant can produce as many as 100,000 seeds. As an organic farmer for many years, I am painfully aware of this production. Each growing year, I have wrestled with a cousin of Amaranthus cruentus, Amaranthus retroflexus, affectionately known as red root pigweed, and considered to be among the world's worst weeds. Sometimes known as one of the weeds of fertility, once this fast-growing plant discovers your fertile field, it is very difficult to control. It adores the heat, and left untended, it can grow to the size of a small tree in a month. And if one plant is allowed to mature and shatter, those 100,000 seeds can live in the soil undisturbed for 40 years. In a food plant, of course, this is a quality worthy of praise. The name amaranth derives from a Greek word meaning never fading, one that does not wither. In Mesoamerica, it was named Huaotli, the smallest giver of life, the smallest giver of life. It is at home in Nepal as well as the mountains of Guatemala, and once the plant is established, it requires very little moisture. Amaranthus is a resilient plant, and that quality has ensured its survival against significant odds. The Aztecs, who revered this cultivar as an invaluable food source, made statuesque figures out of a mixture of seeds and honey. Fearful of pagan ritual and to punish the indigenous people's reverence, the Spanish conquistadors, in their madness, burned the crop fields and banned the production of this staple of life. This, despite the fact that the conquistadors' horses, starving after the long voyage, chose the abundant seeds of amaranth to feed on. Centuries later, this wasteful, brutal tactic was revived during the 3 decades of civil war. It is a small miracle, no, a great miracle, that any heritage seeds could be found in Rabinal, this is in Guatemala, at the start of the 21st century. The Maya as a culture predate the Aztecs and have survived over 500 years of colonization. They have been on the receiving end of a constant offensive against our forms of production and social organization, culture, and religion, observes Rigoberto Che, a leader of the Quiche. And Quiche means many trees, a group of the Mayas. In the decades of conflict and upheaval, a few elder villagers found hiding places for what may have been their most valuable resource, placed in jars here and there, sometimes lodged under roof tiles. To begin the process of renewal, Garden's Edge worked with 12 families and a few handfuls of seeds. The mission was to collect and reintroduce traditional seed varieties, highly adaptive seeds that might revive a local culture once familiar with the farming practices we now label as agroecology. The approach is a proven one, sensible, practiced for centuries, to acknowledge and work in concert with the ecological system one is a part of. Agroecology respects the social ecology of place. It is a theme also at the heart of Pope Francis's encyclical on climate change called Laudato Si, which means on care of our common home. We are not faced with two separate crises, he says, one environmental and the other social, but rather with one complex crisis, which is both social and environmental. Strategies for a solution demand an integrated approach to combating poverty, restoring dignity to the excluded, and at the same time protecting nature. Juan Vasquez Chun, a Maya Achi, credits Quacha Alum, which is a program of Garden's Edge, for opening the door to relearning of ancestral practices and to creating a way to exchange with other growers. He learned to love plants in his mother's garden, and he now uses a technique known as campesino a campesino, farmer to farmer, to teach other families cultivation skills, but also the less obvious values of working with plants. Through Quacha Alum, he has realized a dream, not only to lead in his community, but to inspire other farmers to recognize their collective inheritance. To save a seed is to pass on a story and also to preserve an ancestral gift, a spiritual connection with Mother Earth. In the Popol Vuh, which is the ancient book of the Mayans, the creator is known as Heart of the Sky, Heart of the Earth. Heart of the sky, heart of the earth. And humans were brought into being out of a plant, born of corn. A few days prior to this gathering in Espanola, in a small garden beside the Albuquerque Museum with Megan, I joined university students and children, Sarah from Garden's Edge and the Maya Achi from Quacha Alum, to practice the art of saving the seeds of Amaranthus cruentus. The garden was planted to accompany an exhibit titled Seed, Climate Change Resilience. We knelt beside Julian to thresh and winnow the abundant, brilliantly colored amaranth plants. Julian is an amaranth ambassador in a program known as Seed Travels, founded by Garden's Edge in 2009. But Seed Travels is much more than a program. It is a way of connecting, of allowing an old way of seeing to reemerge. Those who travel together and cultivate the plants extend the work of connecting communities in Guatemala to communities farther north. Now in Espanola at the Healing Foods Oasis with families from Santa Clara Pueblo, from Urbino in Guatemala, from Albuquerque and Espanola, instructed by Rosalia and Maria Elena, we snap the ripe stalks and bundle the brilliant seed heads, as many as we can carry, to transport the harvest to the lawn below. We stack the grain on several tarps and kneel before an age-old mystery. Out of the tiniest of seeds placed in a substance ground down from rock over millennia, in a high, dry country, the superfood, millions of seeds, came to maturity on substantial stalks taller than our bodies. As we cup our hands around and over the flame-shaped seed heads, they shatter with a sea of pink and gold grains flows around our knees. Perhaps we are at a threshold, the place of entrance to a dwelling. The dwelling is the soil we kneel upon as we thresh the grain, our common home. The amaranth is an entrance, our shared harvest. When the threshing is completed and the long stalks are removed, Julian teaches a young girl the art of winnowing. She is shy, yet eager to take on an active role in the ceremony, to be in the center. He gathers the seed in a wide bowl, lifts the vessel to shoulder height, and pours it out. A gentle breeze sweeps the chaff from the small seed, carries it away, and the seed kernels by the thousands sift to another waiting bowl. Now it is the child's chance. She hesitates, unable to raise the bowl to any height. Seeds and chaff fall as one, asking to be winnowed once more. Gracefully and with care, Julian helps her to feed the air with amaranth seeds, and a mound of usable grain builds in the bowl. More than enough seed to mix with the liquid honey warmed on a portable stove. The grain pops in the pan, and Rosalia swirls the tiny toasted puff seeds with a stream of golden honey to form a pan full of sweet, nutritious amaranth bars. As the sky color turns to rose, we taste and talk. The whole experience is an enactment of what what Eugene Anderson names an ecology of the heart. Ethnographer is the word I couldn't get out. An ecology of the heart. It is strange, impossible for me to imagine the consciousness of the conquistadors or of a ruling faction obsessed with power, so filled with fear of a plant, of a people, to be moved to destroy every trace. I believe, and I have said, that our culture, our habitation in this time on earth, is in need of transformation. Here it is, expressed in the interdependence of a persistent people and an ancient grain. Here in a plant so colorful, one that does not wither, a plant that produces seeds in a beautiful phrase I recall from the Chandogya Upanishad, smaller than a grain of rice or a grain of barley or a grain of mustard seed or a grain of canary seed or the kernel of a grain of canary seed, a plant that inspires gratitude, ceremony, art, reverence, and when warmed, wow, it can pop. Heart of the sky, heart of the earth.
Thank you. Please stand as you are willing and able to sing together number 22, Dear Weaver of Our Lives' Design. Megan will play it through once, right, Megan?
I think we can start singing.
Okay. Please remain standing for our closing words and extinguishing the chalice. Megan will be reading our closing words.
It's actually a prayer, call and response prayer. And the wonderful thing about this prayer is that, again, it's so beautiful how we're all connected in the collective unconscious. The way of beauty, the Navajo is beauty before me, beauty behind me. And in this prayer that is in my yoga tradition, we do a similar prayer of love before me, love behind me, peace, and light. So we're going to do it in call and response. Love before me.
Love before me.
Love behind me.
Love behind me.
Love at my left.
Love at my left.
Love at my right.
Love at my right.
Love above me.
Love above me.
Love below me.
Love below me.
Love in me.
Love in me.
Love in my surroundings.
Love in my surroundings.
Love to all.
To all.
Love to the universe.
Love to the universe.
Peace before me.
Peace before me.
Peace behind me.
Peace behind me.
Peace at my left.
Peace at my left.
Peace at my right.
Peace at my right.
Peace above me.
Peace above me.
Peace below me.
Peace below me.
Peace in me.
Peace in me.
Peace in my surroundings.
Peace in my surroundings.
Peace to all.
Peace to all.
Peace to the universe.
Peace to the universe.
Light before me.
Light before me.
Light behind me.
Light behind me.
Light at my left.
Light at my left.
Light at my right.
Light at my right.
Light above me.
Light above me.
Light below me.
Light below me.
Light in me.
Light in me.
Light in my surroundings.
Light in my surroundings.
Light to all.
Light to all.
Light to the universe.
Light to the universe.
And we're going to sing. I suppose we were supposed to sing the song before. Oh, no, we did it. Okay, so now you can have a seat again, and I am going to sing you a song in Irish. Now, again, the same theme comes back, and I just want to say before we do this that I was watching a Navajo man speak about the way of beauty, and he was saying in the Navajo understanding, the past isn't behind us, the past is before us. So when we think of beauty before me, we're thinking of the past before us. And in a way, I think that's honoring the ancestors and honoring all that has been done that brings what we can experience of beauty here, like the tradition of the seeds and ways of bringing food and nutrition into our lives and sharing those practices. So this is the approximate translation, so you can think about it while you're listening, is light be with me, light before me, light behind me. You hear a theme? This is in Irish. Light above me and light below me. Light be living in my heart. Light on my right, light to the north. It adds in to the north. Light grant me health. Light grant me health. May the blessings of the light be with us forever and ever. Christ Leon, Christ Leon, Christ in ahoy ma Krisha, Christ fos aviastiem, Christ in ahoy ma Krisha, Christ fos aviastiem, Christ oig, ontir natix lanu, ontir natix lanu, greb de lanu ahirna in our mask kasail na sail. And if you want to join me on Christ Leon. Christ Leon, Christ